Chair, fellow speakers and guests, for a moment I would like you to focus on your breathing, but you don't have to change it. Now, did you notice what just happened? Hands up if you changed your breathing as you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear yoga teachers, meditation teachers say this all the time. They're asking the impossible. Awareness is key. As soon as you focus on your breathing, it changes. There we go, I've just busted myth number 1. So, how long do you think a human can survive without breathing?
You have to quantify that, consciously or unconsciously.
Let's go consciously.
I say maybe 7 minutes.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Depends how fit you are, doesn't it, and what you're doing.
Depends on a lot of
Yeah,
things.
it depends on a lot. Like a free diver can hold his breath for a hell of a long time.
Yes. So, generally it is said that it's 3 minutes. There goes myth number 2. The world record is 24 minutes and 0.3 seconds. Yeah. Like me, no idea how that's possible, but it is. And that's because most people think that it's oxygen that we need. Now, what I learned when I was nursing, among other things, but this one really stuck in my mind, was under no circumstance do you increase the level of oxygen of an asthmatic, even if they tell you that they cannot breathe, without first speaking to the doctor. So like you, we're all sat down thinking, okay, fair enough. Why? Because you will kill them. Therefore it's stuck. Must never do that. And the reason is because it doesn't matter how much oxygen we have. It is not the lack of oxygen that determines whether we breathe or not. It is the increase in carbon dioxide that sends a message to our brain and therefore signals that it's time to breathe. And what the divers do is they raise their tolerance to CO2. So increasing oxygen just means you stop breathing. And my brain went, well, there's the answer then. And it took me, at least 10 years, maybe 15 years before I figured out the answer to what. Because we were on to the next topic that we had to learn nursing. But it stuck. So, that's myth number 3. It's not oxygen that keeps us alive, but CO2. Now, can anyone tell me what the combination of these symptoms sounds like? Breathlessness, excessive sighing, palpitations, cold hands and feet, muscle pains, dizziness, exhaustion, lethargy, anxiety, sleep disturbance, increased blood pressure, headaches, and disturbance in concentration and memory.
That's all in association with children, isn't it?
Sounds like me. Sounds like me. Can be pretty common in children, especially now.
When you get older as well.
Sorry?
When you get older as well.
Yeah, I could tick them all off. But there's a specific word that's used.
Depression.
Not just depression.
Are you talking about anxiety?
Anxiety is just part of it, but it's what people tend to associate as symptoms of stress. And everybody talks about stress. And stress is normal. No, it isn't. Stress might be the norm, but that doesn't make it normal. That's another myth busted, but not about breathing necessarily. So, it isn't stress. It's actually, and this is where I found the answer to my question, according to a Russian scientist called Professor Wootton, symptoms of hyperventilation. And hyperventilation is a lot easier to sort out than stress. Now, what are people told to do when they're stressed? Yes, breathe deeply. Busted myth number 5. So, is it another myth, you might be asking? Does stress actually cause those symptoms, or are those symptoms just caused by hyperventilation? I'm going to let you decide with the following exercise. We're going to do something called square breathing, which I recommend to most of my patients. And it only requires you being able to count to 4. And luckily today, I'm going to do the counting for you. You're going to just pay attention to your breathing and follow my counting. So, before we do that, figure out on a scale of 0 to 10, sorry, 1 to 10, because you're all breathing, otherwise I'd have bodies on the floor. In terms of depth and quality, where your breathing is right now. You don't have to say it out loud, it's just something for you to be aware of, so you've got comparison at the end of the exercise. And is it more difficult to breathe in or out? Okay, just make a mental note. And what about the speed of your thoughts? Is your mind racing? Or is it just happily trundling along? Very calm. Trundle. So, when you're ready, breathe out. And then breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. And resume normal breathing. And now notice, where are you on your scale of 1 to 10? The depth of your breathing, the quality of your breathing, the speed of your thoughts. Have they almost stopped? And that's the key. Pausing and being able to pause in everyday life. And if you would like any more information about the balance of CO2 and oxygen, if you would like my poster as a reminder of square breathing, then please let me know.
Yes, in relation to the breathing aspect, usually when I'm on a golf course and I'm losing, I ask my opponent who is about ready to swing his golf club, I said, excuse me, do you inhale or exhale when you swing? And they completely get messed up.
Very clever. And what do you do?
Oh, don't ask me.
So you would normally
Yeah.
want to exhale
Yes.
when you're doing the movement,
Mhm.
because exhaling allows the muscles to relax.
Yes.
It's a reflex.
Yes.
So if you shrug your shoulders up and then take a deep breath, as you breathe out, your tendency will be to let your shoulders go. It's very difficult to. And so when you're swinging, you want your muscles to be relaxed, because if they tighten up, you're not going to get the
That's why I asked the
flow.
question, to break their train of thought, you see.
Yeah.
Naughty.
I like it. I'm going to use that one.
So, any other questions?
So, if you're holding your breath for a long time and the carbon dioxide builds up, and if for some reason you cannot take a breath, because you're in the water or something, I mean, what? Well, let's assume that there's nothing else that goes into your mouth, and so you're not underwater, you just don't take a breath. What is it that stops your system from functioning? Is it the carbon dioxide or the...
No,
or the
you will have to take a breath, which is why people who are underwater, when they feel they need to breathe, they breathe, and water gets into their lungs, and then that stops them from being able to take the oxygen out of the water, because we're no longer fish, out of the water and into the bloodstream. So it's impossible to hold your breath beyond a certain point.
Can someone actually physically hold the breath until they pass out?
You're more likely to pass out if you chronically hyperventilate. or
Yeah, but
force
if you
yourself.
don't hyperventilate, if someone just held their breath,
No, you wouldn't pass out, because
wouldn't
the
pass out.
CO2 increase forces that intake
Okay.
breath.
that's fine.
But if you have too much oxygen, your body will shut off and go, there's too much oxygen, I don't need to breathe anymore. So you just pass out. And then the system regulates, the CO2 will increase because you've passed out and you're not hyperventilating anymore. And your ventilation resumes normal speed and you regain consciousness. Which is why people who are hyperventilating are given a paper bag to breathe in. Because they keep rebreathing the CO2, which then brings it back up to normal, reduces their anxiety, relaxes their muscles, decreases their blood pressure, because CO2 is a vasodilator, so it increases the blood flow in the bloodstream. It regulates the heart, and hey presto,
Didn't realise carbon dioxide was such an important part of our existence.
It's key to our
It really
existence.
is.
Without it, with too much of it, we die. And same for oxygen. But oxygen is always seen as the chemical that's key to our life. Actually, no, we can survive with a lot less oxygen.
So why are we saving the trees, which inhale carbon dioxide and exhale oxygen, if we need more carbon dioxide?
Because it's not about our ability to breathe. It's about our ability to survive with the change in climate and the flooding. Because we're not fish, we cannot survive in the water. And we could not survive at much higher temperatures or much lower temperatures. That's the problem for humans, not our level of CO2 in the atmosphere. It is for all manner of other creatures, but not for humans. And actually the masks we've been wearing for over a year are helping us to cope with increased CO2 levels, because it's not reducing the oxygen we're taking in, but it's building our resistance to CO2. So it's actually been a bonus for asthmatics that they've not even realised.
So we breathe in a mix of nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide,
And stuff.
and other stuff
Yeah.
with every breath. What then? What's the proportion of oxygen that would become fatal to us in that mix?
Ooh, I would have to do some research on that one. But you can increase it a fair bit, but it gets to a point where in newborns who were premature, they have too much oxygen, they go blind. So it doesn't stop you from breathing at that level, but it does cause other damage to the nose tissue. So I can send you the Buteyko research, because there's a snippet in that about the percentage that you can increase.
Paranoid breathing.
Yeah.